Welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And today the movie I'm reviewing is called 𝙾𝙗 and Theo. So this dramatic movie based on a true story is actually being recut and re-released by Vision Films from its 2015 debut just in time for Earth Day on April 22nd, 2022. It will be newly available on Tubi and commercial free on Amazon Prime, iTunes, Vudu, YouTube, Google Play, and almost all cable providers in the US and Canada. So the movie is rated PG-13 and is an hour and 21 minutes. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, and even movie recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that I think you might also like if you like this one. All right, so first, in a nutshell, it's a story about a homeless woman and a lawyer who tried to help an Inuit man from the Arctic bring his message of change to the United Nations. Remember, this is a true story. The film is written and directed by 𝙧𝙚𝙫𝙞𝙀. So some of the things that I really liked about this movie are, despite the many flaws in the movie, the message is still really good and a reminder to all of us to take better care of the planet and each other. There are many lines in the movie filled with great wisdom. If you're a fan of Dakota Johnson, you'll get a kick out of watching her when she was much younger, when she was first learning how to be an actress. So her acting isn't stellar, but again, she's young and she was new in the industry at the time. If you love Broadway, you might also recognize Andre DeShields in the cast. He won an Emmy, a Tony, and a Grammy in his career. And if you don't recognize him, well, now you get a nice introduction to this very talented actor. Mira Sorvino is also in the movie and has a knack for picking movies that tug at the heart. Most recently, she's been in a lot of Christian-based movies. Now, this one's not necessarily a Christian-based movie, but it does have that familiar emotional tug at the heart as some of those other ones that she's been doing. She's extremely likable in everything that she does. And she also chooses movies that have a positive theme, which this movie does. Actually, several themes. I'll tell you about them in just a minute. So 𝙾𝙗 and Theo is based on a true story. Theo was an Inuit elder in real life and a lead in the film playing a fictionalized version of himself. He actually came to New York City to talk about his people's struggle with global warming and sustainability and climate change. As soon as he heard about it, Richard Branson got involved. Do you know who he is? He's like a bazillionaire. Richard Branson traveled with Monica Ord to the great Canadian North on an expedition to finally understand the effects of climate change, especially in the Arctic, and discussed how they could present that change, the dangerous change, in their film. There's a lovely soundtrack, and the movie definitely has heart. There are some humorous moments as we watch an Eskimo try to understand the busy, crazy, chaotic New York City life. Larry King even has a cameo as himself in the movie. Now, all of that good being said, there were some things that I didn't like about the movie. For example, at the very beginning of the movie, before the title card appears, it makes you think that you're mistakenly watching a documentary. But hold on, keep watching, and it'll turn into that feature film that you thought you were going to watch. While its heart is in the right place, the film is extremely messy. The story is very slow moving, and it's very cheesy and preachy. And for that, a lot of people may not be interested. Again, this has been recut. I didn't watch the original movie, so I can't tell you what changes were made or what obvious differences there are because I don't know. I was invited to watch this movie from the studio because they wanted me to talk about it during Earth Day. So it certainly is on the radar again for Earth Day for 2022. As a reminder, to, like I said, take better care of the planet and each other. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. There is some violence with blood. There's portrayal of homeless people. And instead of profanity, we hear words like friggin', which is great. I appreciate that. Ultimately, it's a fairly family-friendly movie that can spark an interest in a discussion that you can have with your family about what simple changes that we can make in our lifestyle to create a smaller carbon footprint. Obviously, we're big consumers here in America, and the things that we do actually affect other countries. And so I like that there is one person in the Arctic who is given this assignment from his tribe to come to speak to the elders of America. And of course, he doesn't know how big of a tribe America is. And so that's part of the humor that's in the movie. And the movie does have some humor, so that's good. It's not all preachy, but it definitely is the lesson of climate change. So speaking of that, the themes in the movie are environmentalism, indulgence in consumerism, caring for one another and the planet, and simplicity, living a minimalist lifestyle. Now, I normally write down funny lines and interesting lines and include them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I didn't really write down any funny lines. It's a pretty serious movie, even though there is some humor. There just weren't any humorous lines that caught my attention and made me write them down. But there were quite a few interesting lines. So I'll share a couple of them with you right now. So Theo, who's played by 𝙤𝙚𝙫𝙚𝙀, says the environment is a school without walls. I thought that that was really interesting. And then Chloe loves Bruce Lee. She's played by Dakota Johnson. And so she says, don't think, feel. And I liked that. I totally understood what she was saying. She was quoting Bruce Lee, who also taught that same principle. But we also have to think and not just feel. I think sometimes our emotions can override our logical brain. So there has to be a balance. And then another line spoken by Theo that I wrote down that I thought was good was, he says, the power to change the world lies where it always has, not within offices of power, but within ourselves. And so the movie is a great reminder to use our voice. And that's a really powerful message. There were some flaws. It's an older movie and it kind of plays like an older movie. The overall movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a C+, but there's definitely good to be had. Now, before I go, let me give you some recommendations for some other films. The first movie that came to my mind is a movie that came out last year, or I think it was last year, called 499. And it shows this old conquistador, a soldier, traveling back in time in some miraculous way that's not really explained, but he shows up in modern days Mexico, and he looks at what's happened to this country that he and his fellow soldiers had conquered. And it's very insightful and a bit depressing too, but very well done. I thought I really enjoyed it. And I was an exchange student in Mexico, so I really appreciated that perspective. And then if you just want sort of a feel-good movie and a little bit modern, I mean, it is still an older movie, but with kind of a more modern feel, there's always the comedy, the rom-com, Crocodile Dundee, that also has a message of using your voice, living simplistically, and not trashing our environment, that kind of thing. All right, that's it. I hope that if you watch this movie that you do enjoy it and you take a moment to celebrate Earth Day this year. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.